What is it all about?
Chicago is an American musical with music by John Conder, lyrics by Fred Debb, and book by Evan Bob Foss. Set in Chicago in the Jazz Age, the musical is based on a 1926 play of the same name by reporter Maureen Dallas Watkins, about actual criminals and the crimes on which she reported. The story is a satire on corruption in the administration of criminal justice and the concept of the celebrity criminal. The original Broadway production opened in 1975 at the 46th Street Theater and ran for 936 performances, until 1977. Bob Foss choreographed the original production, and his style is strongly identified with the show. It debuted in the West End in 1979, where it ran for 600 performances. Chicago was revived on Broadway in 1996, and a year later in the West End. The 1996 Broadway production holds the record as the longest-running musical revival and the longest-running American musical in Broadway history. It is the second longest-running show to ever run on Broadway, behind only The Phantom of the Opera. Chicago surpassed Cats on November 23, 2014, when it played its 7,486th performance. The West End revival became the longest-running American musical in West End history. Chicago has been staged in numerous productions around the world, and has toured extensively in the United States and United Kingdom. The 2002 film version of the musical won the Academy Award for Best Picture.
Act 1.
Velma Kelly is a vaudevillian who welcomes the audience to tonight's show. Interplayed with the opening number, the scene cuts to February 14, 1928 in the bedroom of chorus girl Roxy Hart, where she murders Fred Casely as he attempts to break off an affair with her. Roxy convinces her husband Amos that the victim was a burglar, and Amos agrees to take the blame. Roxy expresses her appreciation of her husband's willingness to do anything for her. However, when the police mention the deceased's name, Amos belatedly realizes that Roxy has lied to him. Roxy, feeling betrayed, confesses and is arrested. She is sent to the woman's block in the Cook County Gaol, where several women accused of killing their lovers are held. Among the inmates is Velma Kelly, revealing herself to have been involved in the death of her husband and sister, though she denies committing the act. The block is presided over by matron Mama Morton, whose system of taking bribes perfectly suits her clientele. She has helped Velma become the media's top murderer of the week and is acting as a booking agent for Velma's big return to vaudeville. Velma is not happy to see Roxy, who is stealing not only her limelight but also her lawyer, Billy Flynn. Roxy convinces Amos to pay for Billy Flynn to be her lawyer, though Amos lacks the funds. Eagerly awaited by his all-woman clientele, Billy sings his anthem, complete with a chorus of fan dancers. Billy takes Roxy's case before realizing Amos doesn't have the money to make up to the difference. He turns the case into a media circus and rearranges her story for consumption by sympathetic tabloid columnist Mary Sunshine, hoping to sell proceeds in an auction. Roxy's press conference turns into a ventriloquist act, with Billy dictating a new version of the truth to the reporters while Roxy mouths the words. Roxy becomes the most popular celebrity in Chicago, as she boastfully proclaims while planning for her future career in vaudeville. As Roxy's fame grows, Velma's notoriety subsides, and in an act of desperation she tries to talk Roxy into recreating the sister act. Roxy turns her down, only to find her own headlines replaced by the latest sordid crime of passion. Separately, Roxy and Velma realize there is no one they can count on but themselves, and Roxy decides that being pregnant in prison would put her back on the front page.
Act 2.
Velma returns to introduce the opening act, resentful of Roxy's manipulation of the system and ability to seduce a doctor into saying Roxy is pregnant. As Roxy emerges, she sings gleefully of the future of her unborn, non-existent, child. Amos proudly claims paternity, but still, nobody notices him, and Billy exposes holes in Roxy's story by noting that she and Amos had not had sex in 4 months, meaning if she were pregnant, the child was not Amos's, and hopes that Amos will divorce her and look like a villain, which Amos almost does. Velma tries to show Billy all the tricks she has planned for her trial, which Roxy treats skeptically. Roxy, upset with being treated like a common criminal and considering herself a celebrity, has a heated argument with Billy and fires him. Billy warns her that her kind of celebrity is fleeting and that she would be just as famous hanging from a noose. At that moment, Roxy witnesses one of her fellow inmates, a Hungarian woman who insisted her innocence but could not speak English and whose public lawyer refused to defend her, as she is hanged. The trial date arrives, and a now freshly terrified Roxy runs back to Billy, who calms Roxy by suggesting she will be fine so long as she makes a show of the trial. Billy uses Amos as a pawn, turning around and insisting that Amos is actually the father of Roxy's child. Roxy steals all of Velma's shtick, down to the rhinestone garter, to the dismay of Mama and Velma. As promised, Billy gets Roxy acquitted, but just as the verdict is announced, some even more sensational crime pulls the press away, and Roxy's fleeting celebrity life is over. Billy leaves, done with the case, admitting that he only did it for the money. Amos tries to get Roxy to come home and forget the ordeal, but she is more concerned with the end of her brief run of fame and admits she isn't pregnant, leaving Amos in the dust. The final scene cuts to a Chicago vaudeville theater, where Roxy and Velma, acquitted offstage, are performing a new act in which they bittersweetly sing about modern life. The former Mary Sunshine, revealed during the trial to actually be a man in drag, takes his natural male form as a pushy vaudeville promoter, shaping Roxy and Velma's dance to make it as sexy as possible. The show ends with a brief finale.
The end.